In this video for me, it's a very hard video to do because it carries a lot of shame. You know, the life and the person that I was previously, I can't comprehend it anymore because I've changed and I've grown so much. It almost doesn't even seem real to me. I've gone from being in trap houses and dirty bangles surrounded by nitties and cats to becoming a Nike featured undefeated boxing champion. It's surreal. It doesn't even seem real to me. And it's hard for me to tell because my story is very personal. It's something I keep close to my heart, as no one wants to be judged. you know. However, I've come to realize that my story is something that can inspire people to change. Your past doesn't determine your future, and the power to change is in your hands. You're the only obstacle in your way of the change that you want in your life. You know, as far as I can remember, like especially when it comes to primary school and secondary school, I remember not having one good parents' evening. Yeah, I remember every parents' evening it just being a bad one. I remember in primary school I was on report in like year two. Which is crazy to look back at it, and it's weird. I wouldn't say like I was a demon child. I was just like naughty and mischievous. But I knew, like I realized as I got older. For example, when my brother was going to my primary school, they already had eyes on him because of my behavior. When I deep that, that's not a good thing. Like I'm causing so much trouble that family members of mine are already on the radar and they ain't even joined the school yet, but they're joining. And it's crazy for me because I'd say I was like the black sheep of the family because I come from a devout Christian household. My older sister's like the role model child. Everyone's doing their thing. No one was getting into trouble at school apart from me. So of course now I'm already standing out. However, when I was young, I wasn't into anything crazy. I was a footballer. Well, I was playing football, but this wasn't for me. I tried rugby. I tried so much different things, but it wasn't for me. But I was a very active kid. I tried different sports, and yeah. Secondary school for me, I would say, for a lot of people can agree with this. I'd say you're exposed to a lot more. You're treated more like an adult, especially coming from primary school. The foods that are available for you to get, it's just different. And I'd say a big impact on me was secondary school because I stopped playing football. And I know even though I didn't love the sport and it wasn't for me, it still gave me that discipline. It still filled my time. The extra time I had outside of school, you're going training, you're busy. However, when I stopped that, naturally you're going to occupy your time with something else. And that's when I started smoking, and till this day, I know for a fact that when I started smoking, it was like I sealed the deal. That is what led me down the path that I went down. Because now the people I'm chilling with and hanging around with, it changes. I'm hanging around with people who are trapping, smoking. And like it says in the Bible, show me your friends, I'll show you who you are. So if I'm hanging around with people who are money motivated, that's what I'm gonna become. Even if they're getting money in the wrong way, they're still making money. So naturally, I went down that path as well. And I remember hearing my friend went cunch, and like someone told me, "Oh, he went cunch, and he made £600 a week." And the way it just sounded so easy, raw. Like you just got to go to this place for a week and you're getting paid £600. And in the back of my mind, I was like, raw, yeah, that sounds too easy. Yeah, I definitely got to try that. And I remember it was half term, you know, and this was the first time I ever went cunch. And till this day, I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. I'm not gonna lie. It was fun. I remember I left my house for a week. No one knew where I was. But when I was there, just ordering food, I was in the band hall, like just it was funny, like laughing at the nitties or whatever. It was funny, it was a fun experience at that young age. I don't have no bad memories from that week, So that first experience of me going country, it wasn't bad, it was fun. So nothing changed, nothing happened to me where I thought, oh, this is bad. I just remember coming home getting beats because no one knew where I was for a week. I'd say that was the worst experience I had. However, it didn't deter me. you know. So the first time I went, it didn't deter me. So like I said, it didn't deter me. It didn't have anything that worried me. So I was like, I didn't take any bad experiences away from it. So I remember I went sixth form. I went to my secondary school, sixth form. I didn't really want to go. My parents wanted me to go, but even that itself, I feel like I needed a fresh start. Something different. So I remember I was going sixth form. I wasn't going to lessons. I was just chilling in the common room, not really just doing nothing. Just smoking still around this period of time. And I remember, like, one day I was at home and I was on my mum's phone. And I remember she got a message from the school saying, your son has been kicked out, basically. We wish him well at his new place of education. And I remember my heart dropped, you know. And I remember deep in the situation, like, rah, like, how am I on my mum's phone when I received this message? So obviously, bang, delete it. Remember, I tried to go to the school to try to sort some stuff out because obviously I didn't want to get kicked out. That's fair. That's not, no one getting kicked out ain't nice. Especially if you're not stupid. So obviously wasn't having it. So now I ain't going to school. I ain't going to sixth form anymore. No one knows I've been kicked out. So now for me, it's like, what do I do? Then a light bulb went in my head, and I was like, rah, if I'm kicked out and I'm doing nothing, because what I was doing, I was leaving my house, like going to my friend's house and just chilling in like some alleyway. Basically, I thought, right, instead of doing this, let me make money. I thought, what's the best way to make money? And I thought to myself, let me go conch. This time. And I remember when I was planning to go, I literally thought this time will be even better because I'm more experienced. I'll know what I'll be doing. I'll be able to handle the situation more. So obviously, sorted that out. Boom, boom, bam. I've got a conch line that I'm going to. And I remember I told the person that I was working for, I was like, listen, I need to be going home. I can't stay up here. So the first night, I come home at 2 a.m. My mum's like, where you been? I'm like, I'm working on an art project. Second night, art project. Third night, I was like, I'm at a friend's house. Fourth night, this time I invite my boy Max. He comes round. And I remember being there with him. And I'm like, I should be going home. But I just thought, forget it. Like, I'm just going to stay here. And just from those 3 days ended up me being missing from home for a whole month. And I still remember when I was with my boy Max, I remember snapping like the cats, and I remember posting it. And that for me, I still remember it because I remember people popping up to me like, rah, you're in Cunch. Girls popping up, rah, you're in Cunch. And it's crazy because the sense of validation I felt then, the sense of recognition I felt then, I feel it now. I get it now, with the good that I'm doing, my boxing, the life that I'm living, the change that I've done. And it's crazy just looking back at how that validation, it made me feel different. That those 3 days that turned into a month, it was, I robbed people, run off with people's money and food. I got held hostage. I had people come to my house, look for me, and family members and friends were trying to contact me to see where I was. I was just like gone, I just didn't care. I was living my life. And with all those experiences, when I finally came home, it was like it was different. I felt I went through so much in that month that I was like, yeah, it's no more for me. And when I came back finally, when I came home after being missing for a month, I remember 1 week straight I had nightmares. And I know those nightmares was just the trauma of what I've been through and seen in that month. 1 month gone, like I learned so much, saw so much. And those nightmares, like, it's weird, 1 week straight. And I remember when I finally came home, I wasn't doing nothing. I was just sleeping and waking up, and my dad was like to me, rah, if you're gonna do nothing with your life, go back to where you went. In my head, I was like, nah, yeah, there's no way I'm going back. The stuff that I've just been through, there's no way on earth am I going back there? So I remember my sister got me a job in retail. And my dad has a used to box himself. So one time I saw him, he started it back up again, and I saw him come home from boxing, like had all the wraps and stuff, and I was like, "Rah, where'd you go?" He's at a boxing gym up the road. So I remember my first paycheck that I got from working legitly. I remember I splashed all my money, brought clothes, just what a young person does. And I remember the gym membership was £48, and I was down to my last 50. And something in my head was telling me I wanted to start it, but something at that young age, I just said, right, if I don't pay this membership now, I'm never gonna do it. I just knew that in my head, so I went there, paid for it, and I went broke. However, like the first session I had in my boxing gym, the boxing gym that I was attending to, I remember I did 20 sit-ups and I got neck cramps. And obviously for me now, it's obviously 20 sit-ups is light work, but at that moment, I felt relieved, I stopped smoking and I found pain. That pain gave me freedom, which is crazy, that pain of the 20 sit-ups, it always sits in my mind because it gave me freedom. I felt growth from the pain I was experiencing. And I remember my first boxing gym, they used to call me Boom Boom Balassi. I used to give it to guys in there. I used to get it as well, but I was good. And I remember picking it up quickly, and that gym shut down. And I went looking for another gym with my good friend Mike, who I was previously trapping with, and then my dad. And I remember we went searching until I found a gym in Croydon, Croydon Boxing Club. And I remember going there, and through the club, I met an organization called Gloves Not Guns. They were the first people I trusted with my story, and they helped me. Man, I came open. I finally was able to tell someone what I've been going through. What stuff that I've been through, and through the organization, I was able. I started giving back to my community, and I only realized this just the other day before I made this whole video. I was like, I've always been ashamed, because when you're trapping, one thing, there's no clean drugs line ever. Someone's always getting exploited, groomed, hurt along some kind of drugs line. So it always stuck with me that, right, I contributed to ruining people's lives. Me selling people food and drugs for my personal gain. It's it always like resonated in my head, like that's the shame part. But I only came to realize before the making of this video that I've paid my penance through going into schools and telling my story, coaching at community sessions, helping people learn the craft of boxing. And now that I've realized that, I feel better in myself, that I've tried to right a wrong, Whether I've righted it or not, then that's up to God to decide. However, I've given back from when I was previously taken. And I started boxing, at my new club, Croydon Boxing Club. I started winning my fights one by one. I was winning, had one, had another one, had another one. And then when I entered the national competition, I had 7 fights. I really learned a lot about myself, about the mental perseverance you need to have, the mental resilience you need to have. And I became national champion, So just thinking about it once again, that lost kid has now become champion. It's crazy. And along my journey, I've had people help me. John McAvoy, a good friend of mine who took me to France. Who brought me on. Adam Ballard. Good people who have helped me along my journey, and good friends and family that have helped me develop and change my life, so to say. And I thank God for the fact that I'm still alive and breathing, because many people, it's not easy to come outside alive, nor is it easy to the fact that I'm still have my freedom. I could definitely be in prison or whatever, or dead or whatever. And I'm not just saying that as a cliche, you know, because the life I was living, the realities of that is very, very possible, you know. And yeah, I was able to get out of that life, and that led me to be featured in multiple Nike adverts and campaigns alongside John McAvoy, Jordan Henderson, Marcus Rashford, LeBron James, all these great athletes, you know, and I'm featured right by them, next to them, you know. And that's the reality that I'm living now. And if you asked me 10 years ago, oh, Priest, do you think you'd ever be in I'd tell you you're crazy. Because my reality then and the life I was living then is no way similar to the life I'm living now, you know. And if I have one final message, you know, everyone has the power to change, you know. Is it just, are you willing to make those changes, you know? Because change is hard. But from my personal experience, with change comes growth, and growing is never a bad thing. But anyway, thank you for listening to my story. You know, like and subscribe to my YouTube channel where I'm going to be talking about my personal experiences, you know, personal growth, and my boxing journey that I'm currently on. You know, follow me on Instagram at @presay_noka if you're new to the channel. But yeah, thank you for listening, guys.